The following podcast may contain adult language and an abundance of salt. So get ready, because we're talking WandaVision episode 8?
Yes.
8. Welcome and thank you for listening to another episode of the Salty Nerd Podcast. I am your host, the Salty Nerd. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about WandaVision episode 8, the penultimate. I think episode 9 is the finale, right?
Yep.
The finale.
Which is how fancy people say it.
Yeah, that's the Snickers with a fork and a knife.
Is everybody wearing the glasses but me?
Yep.
You should probably put your glasses on, Jude.
Vader, you're going to have to explain to the watchers on YouTube
Explain what?
what's going on with your hair, bro.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Welcome to the show, Matt Vader 74.
I'm in a new band. It's called...
So, if you've seen our previous episodes,
awesome.
There's one where Vader finds out I used to be a blonde and he loses his fucking mind over it.
So now
And so I put on a wig today just to make him laugh, and he won't take it off.
We'll take it off.
Had it on for 5 hours. I'm not even joking right now.
Yeah.
I kind of like myself as a blonde. I can't tell if I'm that good looking or if I just look metal as hell.
Yeah, we're calling him Matt Vader 70 Thor.
70 Thor. Yeah. I love it.
I'm also joined by the ambassador of estrogen, Jude.
I've always wanted hair like this.
I'm so sorry, guys. We've been drinking. We're supposed to be talking about WandaVision right now, but
I think this is a Patreon episode.
I can't guarantee that that's going to happen.
No, we're good. We're good.
Jude, welcome to the
Hello,
show.
thank you.
And last but not least, the frustrated producer of the show,
Oh, bless your heart.
Matt Kadish.
We banned him from picking movies. He's going to ban us from whiskey. So
It's like you guys make it terrible for editing when you guys are drunk.
then the show will be all this.
Very interesting, psychological
very
issue that they brought up in this film here.
I really like the duality between Vision's personalities. It's very thought-provoking.
That's not us. That's not us.
Yeah,
We are
every episode would be the Cobra Kai episode.
we are goofy. That was a very straight-laced episode, wasn't it? Hey, go
Yeah,
to
no one was drinking.
No, I know. I mean, I loved it. I loved listening to it and loved, our discussion about Cobra Kai.
I do have to admit, wearing this wig for today's shows has given me a deep appreciation
for women.
For women with their hair.
Do you think? Never mind.
'Cause,
It's a bad
yeah.
joke. I shouldn't joke about that. All right, guys. Hey,
Thank you, Jude.
WandaVision episode 8. As we usually do on this podcast, Kadish will run through the synopsis and take a scene by scene, and then we will interrupt with our thoughts. And that's what we do on the Salty Nerd Podcast.
Let's just let him read the whole thing.
Yeah,
We'll
go.
come in at the end.
Kadish, take us through what happens in this episode.
Take it away, Kadish.
All right, so WandaVision Season 1, Episode 8, entitled Previously On. And when I saw that title on the Disney Plus screen, I actually thought it was like a preview of what came before it. But that's the actual
They
title
tricked
of the
you?
episode. Yeah, they did.
It's very, very clever.
Yeah. All right. So the episode begins in Salem, Massachusetts, 1693. A group of robed women take Agatha Harkness through the woods and magically bind her to a stake. Their leader, Evanora, accuses Agatha of betraying her coven, stealing knowledge above her age and station, and practicing the darkest magic. Agatha protests her innocence, insisting that she didn't break the coven's rules and claims that they bent to her power. The coven members begin chanting, and Agatha says that she can't control it and asks for their help. She calls to their leader, who turns out to be Agatha's mother, and Evanora joins in with the chanting. They unleash their magic on Agatha, and she screams in agony. After a moment, Agatha stops and drains the magic from the coven. Evanora levitates into the air and blasts her daughter with magical energy, but Agatha breaks free of her mystical restraints and pulls the coven of women toward her, blasting the corpses back, draining them of their life force. She then tells Evanora that she can be good, but her mother says that she can't, and pins her to the stake with another blast of mystical energy. Agatha drains the life force from Evanora, and Evanora's body falls to the ground. Agatha walks to her mother's body and takes her brooch, and then flies off.
Okay.
She turns the whole coven into desiccated mummies.
So she soaks up all their power, right?
Yeah. I'm gonna be a salty nerd here for a minute. Like we've been kind of gushing over this show, and I feel like we've been too nice to it.
We have been nice.
I needed something to happen this episode, which it did eventually, but this opening scene, I wasn't sold. Like when I was watching it, I felt like it was out of place for the rest of the show. Like I understand.
I thought they were playing it off as like a origin story for Agatha.
Yeah, it was too much.
But I needed more.
Yeah.
I needed why is she getting at the stake with her coven around her?
Yep.
You know, 5 more minutes prior to that might have given us what we needed.
This was a case of too little, too late. Like you either give us all the backstory for Agatha or you give us none.
I wanted an entire Agatha episode.
Yeah. I did too, I think.
Yeah, they tacked this nonsense on at the first like 3-4 minutes of this episode. And they were like, here, that should be enough for you, right?
That 3 minutes that we got should have been the last act of a whole episode.
Yeah, I agree. So that bothered me on top of the fact that I don't know why. Usually I can suspend my disbelief with this, but for some reason when I was watching this moment in the episode, I felt like my brain went, I wonder what this looked like when they were filming it. Because for some reason the magic seemed out of place for me. So all I could see,
it's very Marvel.
All I could see is Agatha screaming, like horrendously screaming, and everybody and all the other people standing next to her going,
well, that's because that's
and
what
like,
it was.
The magic seemed out of place to me. Like this whole, the blue light versus the purple light. It seemed weird and goofy, and I didn't buy it. So like, I don't know if anybody's ever seen like the behind the scenes of the CW superhero shows with like the Flash and Supergirl, where they're jumping, but then they wait for post-production for it to look like they're actually flying and stuff like that. Like that's what I saw when I was watching this. I
think you can't get into that stuff if you dive that deep into things like that.
Behind the scenes,
you're just gonna ruin it for you.
Yeah, it's just
don't think too hard.
I just wasn't sold by this opening scene.
That's like, I mean, this is a reference to another show, but don't worry about why the stone gargoyles can't fly. Okay,
I didn't buy it. I didn't think it was enough for us to like get to know what's going on with Agatha. Like it didn't set her up as a worse villain that she already was.
I don't even think of her as a villain right now after watching the entire show. And we're skipping ahead, but I just want more backstory.
Yeah, and I'm starting to get to the point where I'm like, okay, well now, do we have too many villains? Because Hayward is the villain, and Agatha is the villain.
Is he a villain?
I don't think he's a villain. I think he's just
like Agatha as the villain, and I'd really like a full episode devoted to like what led up to that. Haywood, I just find him to be an annoying douchebag. And I don't really want any more from him.
So
I want this to be about like good superhero versus a bad superhero. And I didn't get that.
Okay. So we're on the same page?
Yeah, I think
good.
so. We want more Agatha backstory.
I was worried I was going to sound like a douchebag saying that.
No. But you're 100% spot on.
I think that for me, I was hoping for an entire episode that kind of gave us all of the episodes up until now, but from Agatha's perspective, just kind of like fast forward through, like from her, her being like the central character. And I think they maybe felt like they did that in the end of the last episode with that little snippet at the end.
Yeah.
But I wanted a full episode of that. I wanted more. This is everything Agatha has done leading up to this.
Yeah, like a flashback.
Especially with the way they ended the last episode.
It's just too much of a tease.
It was Agatha all along.
Yeah, and I was like, hell yeah, it was Agatha all along. Give me more of that. And they were
because
like,
you called it like really early on. You were like, oh no, she's playing everybody.
Yes, I'm really smart.
You were very smart.
Kadish, what did you think about the opening 5 minutes or so of Agatha's backstory?
I liked it.
Thank you. Okay.
All right.
Let's keep going.
Deep.
What happens next?
All right. Back in the present, Agatha talks to her rabbit, Senior Scratchy, and says that Wanda looks shocked to see them as they really are. Wanda tries to use her mental powers on Agatha, and Agatha tells her that she's immune to them. When Wanda asks where her children are, she tries to use her magic, but nothing happens. Agatha says that she has runes inscribed in the walls that prevent anyone but her from using magic there, and magically immobilizes Wanda. Agatha wonders why Wanda doesn't know the basic rules of magic, and she asks Wanda who she is and has been wanting Wanda to reveal her true self all this time.
I did kind of like this because it kind of gave me a little bit more of like that Agatha grew up a witch. She was trained to be a witch. And she sees that Wanda is obviously a witch, but she knows nothing.
Yeah.
And she's like looking for Wanda to explain. And as this episode goes on, you see that Wanda doesn't know anything about herself.
Witchcraft.
Yeah.
Basically. Yeah. I thought, I know this is probably going to sound weird coming from somebody like me who's like a super nerd, and I really enjoy the MCU and stuff, but like this weird connection that Doctor Strange is supposed to have with Wanda, I never really connected the two because their powers seem so different to me. Like when Doctor Strange uses his powers, you get the weird like Celtic runes and he casts spells, whereas Wanda just seems to just do it naturally.
I think that there's a difference in the styles of magic because, you know, obviously we have the Doctor Strange movie that kind of establishes the magical aspect of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Mhm.
And, but as Agatha points out at the end of this episode, that Wanda's using chaos magic. And so there's different types of magic that have different types of results.
Doctor Strange is more of a wizard.
And Wanda is infused with this power.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange has had to learn how to tap into it.
Okay.
Exactamundo.
There's a difference.
So she's a more natural user.
She's just
inside
she
her.
just emanates it. She is part of it.
Mhm.
That's why she's so powerful and strong. She doesn't know how to use her full abilities.
Yeah. She has like the power of creation.
Yes.
Whereas Doctor Strange's magic, it's more about, you know, portals and protection and offense, defense,
spells.
stuff like that. Yeah.
Spells as versus just
Doctor Strange is his whole existence is learning how to tap into and control the power that Wanda is made up of.
Okay.
That's why she's so powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
See,
when she learns how to actually use her power, she's going to be ungodly. So, and that's what Agatha is so freaked out about.
You just made me super excited.
She's like, how are you
Got a little
doing what
nerd
you were
boner.
doing? That's what this whole episode was about.
Yeah.
She wanted to know why she has so much power that she doesn't know what the hell she's doing with it.
Yeah. How can you be this powerful
she's
and
jealous.
not know anything about yourself?
Yeah, it's very obvious that
Because
she's
She doesn't
jealous,
even
too.
know she's considered a witch until the end of the episode.
Yeah.
Continue, Kadish.
Continue. Yeah, let's get there.
All right. So, circling the immobilized Wanda, Agatha tells her that she was crippled by her self-doubt and that she believed the Pietro, which she calls Fietro for fake Pietro, that she conjured was real. She explains that she sensed what Wanda had done in Westview, but couldn't figure it out. Agatha admires how Wanda is manipulating thousands of people in complex storylines, as well as transmuting the town, and asks what Wanda's secret is. Wanda says that she doesn't know how she did it, and Agatha slams her around the chamber and tells Wanda that she'd rather fall apart than face the truth. She repeats Wanda's words earlier that she felt empty inside and says that they'll start there. Agatha then takes a strand of Wanda's hair and uses it to cast a spell to look at Wanda's past.
That was a very Harry Potter, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, was it?
Oh, very much so.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So she releases Wanda and leads her through a door that she has conjured. When Wanda hesitates, Agatha reminds her that she's holding Tommy and Billy hostage to Wanda's good behavior. The boys in the distance call out to Wanda, and Wanda goes through the door that Agatha has conjured. On the other side is Wanda's family's apartment in Sokovia. Wanda's mother finds her husband's collection of old sitcoms on DVDs, and he says that he'll sell them off the next day, but until then they have them for TV night. A young Pietro comes in and says that they have to speak English on TV night, and then calls Wanda in. Wanda then reverts to her younger self and hugs her father, then picks out her favorite episode of the Dick Van Dyke Show for them to watch.
This was so wholesome. Like, it made me feel good to see Wanda's young life. It was such a sweet thing, you know, like they're with their family and they're in, you know, Sokovia, and they're like, hey, let's watch these American sitcoms so that we can learn English. So eventually we can move there and we can have a good life. Like, it was just like, it made me so sad.
I actually really enjoyed the flashbacks.
Yeah.
Which was the whole episode.
Yeah.
Basically. But it was nice to fill in some blanks
because
Wanda.
we've heard the story.
Yeah, but it was nice to see some of it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like our complaints at the beginning of the show with Agatha was this whole show was this what we wanted for her, but about Wanda.
Mm-hmm.
You know, let's fill in some blanks to see what what's going on
Yeah.
here.
I'm
So,
upset that there's only one more episode, and I really hope that I get everything that I want in that episode because I feel like there's probably 3 more episodes worth of stuff for me to be satisfied, and I got to do it in one.
Yeah.
I know I can already predict that I'm going to be very disappointed because I want it so much.
Yeah.
and then
I also really enjoyed Agatha in this scene where she was like, "Why is he so loud? We're right here."
yeah, she's very funny with the
Oh,
fourth
she's
wall
got
stuff.
quips. Yeah, she's got some
Yeah.
good quips. But yeah, just like seeing a young Wanda with her brother and her mom and her dad. And this is the story that we heard from Age of Ultron, where they were talking about how much they hate Tony Stark because when they were kids, like a bombing raid happened and, you know, the bomb that killed their parents was sitting right there and it had the name Stark on it. And that's what like really set them off on their path. So it was cool. Like we already knew this as a fact of her history, but then being able to see it was really cool. I
You
really
know,
enjoyed
you know
it.
what I thought about? I thought about Stark has a lot of bombs that don't go off.
See a bad weapon maker.
Well, this isn't the first time we've seen that. Didn't they do that in Iron Man?
The first one?
movie?
Yeah. Well, it was delayed. It landed next to him and he looked at it and it was like, it says my name on it.
They need to have better engineers in Stark Industries, I think.
I do think that it was cool to see that scene, but I feel like it's been described to us so much that I actually don't feel like I needed it. It's not what I wanted.
Huh.
It's fine. It was interesting. I enjoyed watching it, but it wasn't what I wanted.
Well, you guys are kind of overlooking a key part of this scene. So getting back to this, the family sits down to watch the recording and laugh at the sitcom antics. A bomb crashes in and Wanda wakes up to find her parents dead and the apartment in ruins. Pietro gets Wanda to take cover under the bed as more shells rain down. A Stark bomb lands in the apartment but doesn't detonate. It ticks ominously. Pietro says that they have to go, but Wanda tells him that they can't. The children hear people outside but don't know if the people are there to help or who launched the bombs. The TV is still playing and Wanda says that, like in the show, they have to realize that it's all a bad dream and none of it is real. She reaches out towards the bomb, but before she can do anything, Agatha pulls Wanda out from under the bed and reverts her back to her current age. She asks Wanda if she used a probability hex to stop the bomb. Wanda figures that the bomb was defective and explains that they were trapped there for 2 days. Agatha asks where Wanda got her current power, and another door opens. Wanda says she doesn't want to go back, and Agatha tells her that the only way forward is back. Now, what happened in this scene was that Agatha revealed that Wanda, as a child,
Has always been a witch.
used magic to
Yeah.
keep that bomb from exploding.
So she had some innate ability.
Which is why she survives the next scene.
Yeah. Yeah. So she's
So
like,
she's a mutant.
so this is something that I always thought like that the Infinity Stone gave her abilities. That's what we've kind of been sold on as far as the MCU goes. Every time they talk about Wanda's power, it's always like, oh, she was given it by the Infinity Stone by being in close proximity and by the experiments that Hydra put on her. But this kind of reveals that she's always had that natural knack for you moving your hair around is really distracting because you're like, you're doing the freaking Fabio hair flip.
Sorry.
Anyway, it's interesting that they kind of pivoted on this a little bit. And I don't know if this was the plan from the very beginning or if this is something that they created specifically for the show.
I do think it's interesting, and I think it's good storytelling because, you know, if they just experimented on a bunch of people, then a bunch of people should have the same powers as Wanda. But Wanda was special,
Yeah.
and I kind of wanted them to touch on why, like, what they did with Pietro also. I mean, I'm just kind of assuming I'm going to go ahead and fill in that gap that because they're twins, they have the same abilities. She's a baby witch. He's a baby warlock. They experimented on them both. They both got powers. But I think it's interesting to put it in that kind of little neat little box that the reason why she has those powers is because she already had powers. This intensified it, and she's one of the few that survived coming into contact with it. And that's why she's so special.
That does bring up a valid question is what's Pietro's deal? Like, was he naturally super fast or is he like
Well, he talks really loud.
or also a witch?
He's a little bit hyper.
So he had ADHD, which made him like super fast when he...
I think that they are setting up a mutant gene type thing where basically the Mind Stone, and we'll get to this in a second, that Wanda was exposed to just amplified what was already there. And probably the same thing happened to Pietro, where he had this mutant gene, and Wanda's mutant gene just happened to be the same one that helps you kind of tap into magic. And his mutant gene was the one for super speed. So I think that's what they're kind of setting up.
Yeah. Makes sense.
I'm loving all the X-Men like hints and nods, because I cannot wait until the MCU introduces the X-Men, like legit introduces.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, won't it?
It's gonna be really cool.
Yeah, even like the whole how they explained Evan Peters showing up. I think there's more to that than Agatha probably realizes.
Yeah.
So we're probably still going to get some X-Men set up.
If there's not, then it's weird. It's like, why would they just bring him in?
I said the same thing. I was very disappointed that Agatha was like, she didn't come out and say that's not your brother, but she called him fake. She said you're non-brother.
Yeah.
And I was very upset about that, because I was like, well, what is the point of having Evan Peters play him if
it's not connected?
If now you're going to say that's not him. And I was like, I don't buy that either.
Just to mess with us.
And his dad's Magneto.
Yeah. And that's established in the
As
First
well
Class
as-
movies.
Yeah.
He actually says it, like, that Magneto is my dad. So it's like a weird thing. Like, exactly. Why would they bring him into the show and into the MCU under the Disney Marvel umbrella, if not to make that connection?
I think it's a story for
So
another day.
it's either they're really, really trying hard to mess with us nerds, or they're legit going to do something with that character.
Which is one of these things that I need them to wrap up in this last episode.
They're
and
not
I don't
going to.
have time to do it. And that's why I'm going to get irate.
It's not
Well,
gonna
you know what they're
happen.
going to do is they're going to make you watch Falcon and Winter Soldier, and then they're going to make you watch the next MCU movie.
Oh, well, that's what's cool about these movies, these shows and movies,
yeah.
is that there's an outline here.
Mm-hmm.
They have a reason for being, unlike other things.
They're freaking 7 steps ahead of us.
Hit
Kadish,
it, Kadish.
take it away.
We've kind of gotten ahead of you.
Well, yeah. So like this series is leading directly into the next MCU movie, which is the Doctor Strange sequel. All right. So the door opens and Wanda reluctantly goes through. Beyond is the Hydra test chamber, and Agatha goes with Wanda and puts out that in response to her parents being killed, Wanda goes and joins an anti-freedom terrorist organization.
Anti-freedom?
Hydra.
Hydra.
A younger teenage Wanda enters the test chamber, and the Hydra tech assistant warns the head Hydra scientist that no one previously has survived contact with the Mind Stone in Loki's staff in the next room. The Mind Stone in the staff breaks free and floats over to Wanda, hovering in front of her. She reaches out and touches it, and it sheds its exterior, emitting glowing golden light and flares up. Wanda stares at it for a moment and sees the figure of a woman in the light, and then collapses as the light dies.
Did you guys notice that the figure, if you look at her really
It's
close,
WandaVision.
Oh, it's Wanda.
she's this Scarlet Witch with
Yeah.
a costume on.
Yeah, with the full horns and everything. And not horns, but the comic accurate.
Yeah.
And I also like that all of this happened only to Wanda. Like nobody else could see it. It was an instant to the scientists watching. And it was like they edited out the footage.
It was
like Wanda was standing. Now all of a sudden Wanda is on the ground. Like
Yeah.
no flash, nothing.
It was-
All of that happened only to Wanda.
It was almost like she was seeing her future self. And I think we'll talk about this in a little bit, but the idea that the Mind Stone is behind her power and also Vision, and how they're connected and how they're like soulmates, like that's a really freaking cool little
Yeah.
Let's go. Kadish, what happens next?
All right. The Hydra scientists and tech run into the test chamber and confirm that Wanda is alive. Later, Wanda sits in her cell and watches a sitcom on the TV. The two Hydra operatives watch the footage of Wanda and the Stone and try to figure out what happened. Meanwhile, Wanda stands up and stares at the TV. Agatha and the real Wanda watch, and Agatha figures the Infinity Stone amplified Wanda's inherent power. But she needs more to complete her theory. She conjures up another door, and Wanda goes through to a bedroom where her adult self is sitting. The past Wanda is in her room at the Avengers compound watching a sitcom. Wanda says that it's after Pietro died and that she was all alone. Vision comes in. The past version of Wanda invites him to sit with her, and they watch the sitcom. Vision notes whether they should find the actor getting hurt as funny, and Wanda explains that it's a sitcom and the actor isn't actually hurt because it's not that kind of show.
There's a lot of subtext going on here.
Yeah. I thought this scene with her and Vision was probably the best acted scene.
Oh, dude.
of the entire show.
I mean,
the entire series. It was
the-
great.
just cut straight to when he says, "What is grief
Yeah.
but
Oh, that
love
was
endearing?"
beautiful.
Oh my
yeah.
gosh, dude!
I almost cried.
It set the internet on fire.
It did. That was good.
People are like messaging me, like, "Oh my god, that was so powerful."
And you know what's funny is on a personal level, I've never thought of it that way.
yeah, I think this is like
And it's 100% accurate.
whoever
That's
wrote that
crazy.
line of dialogue deserves a raise because
Yeah.
they just put
Give that person an Emmy.
Absolutely.
they just put a text to like a cultural feeling that everybody
Yeah.
has.
It's definitely a line that will live on long past the show.
For
Yeah,
sure.
that's I mean, freaking well done, Marvel,
Yeah.
for having that in there and making it not only work in the show but just level so many people and like,
It's
oh
like-
my
I-
gosh,
it's like-
that's what I've been feeling this whole time.
I don't get like emotionally invested in a lot of these superhero shows, but that scene in particular was good.
Mhm.
It hit home.
Yeah,
And I think the reason why it was important was not just because of the connection between she and Vision, but because Vision gave her hope in order to go on, because at that
Yeah.
moment she was at her rock bottom and
Yeah.
Yep.
she didn't have anything to grab a hold of to pull her out of this sorrow.
yeah,
Yeah.
And then when he put it in a different perspective, she could go on
Yeah.
and she was able to love him.
yeah. I think that's what set off the whole relationship. Like
Mhm.
they've always had a relationship. They kind of had a friendship going on, and then as the movies and stuff progress, they get closer and closer. And this puts good context to that.
Yes.
But also like just the idea
This
of
is
Wanda.
exactly, sorry.
Go ahead. No, go
This
ahead.
is exactly what I wanted when when I was like watching all of the movies leading up, because I wanted more information on Wanda and Vision's relationship, and
Mhm.
I felt like the movies didn't really give it to me.
Mhm.
This scene gave it to me.
Yeah.
And you'll be able to appreciate the movies more now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's really cool. And I like Wanda like sitting down and watching TV shows that make her feel good in order
Mhm.
to cope with her brother's loss and all that stuff. Like that helped me connect with her, because how many people sit down and watch their favorite TV shows just to check out and be like, you know what? I need to deal with some shit right now. I'm
do
going
it
to
all
sit
the
down
time.
and I'm going to watch freaking Star Trek Next Generation, or I'm going to watch
Buffy the
Buffy the
Vampire
Vampire Slayer.
100%.
Like I'm having a bad week. I'm going to sit down and I'm just going to zone out and I'm going to be in this world. Like that really helped me empathize a lot with Wanda's character. So it was freaking French kiss. Good job, MCU. Good job, Kevin Feige.
That's a chef's kiss, not a French kiss.
What did I say? French kiss?
French kiss.
Oh my God, you made me snort.
I'll French kiss Kevin Feige. I don't give a shit. Let's do it, man.
Willem Dafoe style.
Oh yeah, Willem
Dafoe?
Willem Dafoe.
Dafoe.
You're s-
Willem Dafoe from the Boondock Saints when he was making out with that dude.
Kadish, you got more for us?
He's
buddy?
gonna cut
Yeah.
that scene into this.
All right. Vision says that he wants to know what she's feeling if she wants to talk to him. Wanda says that the only thing that would bring her comfort is to see Pietro again. She talks about her grief that keeps coming for her and figures that it will drown her. Vision tells her that it won't, because it can't all be sorrow. He explains that he's never felt loss because he's never had a loved one to lose, but notes, what is grief if not love persevering? Vision then laughs at the sitcom, and Wanda chuckles with him after being comforted by his words. Wanda goes to the now empty bed, and Agatha wonders what happened when Vision died, and he wasn't able to pull Wanda back from the darkness. Wanda says that she can't do it, but Agatha tells her that she's almost there and figures that Wanda wanted Vision back. Another door materializes, leading to the Sword headquarters lobby. The two women go through, and past Wanda demands to see Vision, and that he deserves a proper funeral. Hayward calls her to his office and tells Wanda that he wants to show her something. He takes her out on a balcony overlooking a lab where scientists are taking apart Vision's body. Hayward then tells her that they're dismantling the most dangerous sentient weapon ever made, and they're not going to bury $3 billion worth of vibranium. The best Hayward can do is let Wanda say goodbye to Vision, and she can't have him because he isn't hers.
Did you guys get the vibe that he was manipulating her?
He set her up.
Yeah. He set her up to have this devastating gut punch of a feeling like, oh yeah, he's right over here. You can come
She
with
did
me.
exactly what he wanted her to.
And she walks in and sees Vision being dismantled. Like that's traumatic as it
Mhm.
is. Like it's like walking in on a loved one's autopsy or something. It's weird.
Yeah.
And
the
he's
way
like,
he did it too. Come here, I want to show you something.
yeah, exactly. Like he was
What a
luring.
creep.
Yeah, like he was luring her in. It was super weird. Super weird.
She had exactly the reaction that he wanted her to.
He was just trying to tell her that he's a machine.
I get that. See, that's the other way you can look at it, right? Like he doesn't understand the context of Vision. He thinks it's just a weapon, and he is right.
Yes, he is.
Also, he's been telling everyone that Wanda stole Vision.
That's key. Yeah.
Because of this.
Yeah. So he lied about what happened. He made her do what she did.
And then he stole Vision.
He's spinning the
Wait
story.
a second. Wasn't there a flashback where we saw Wanda stealing him?
We see Wanda break the glass and fly down into the lab.
No, so there was a scene where Hayward showed the
video,
the security footage.
Yeah.
In the context that she stole Vision, but it cuts out right after she kind of goes down into the lab area.
Yeah.
And so we actually got to see this. I'm not sure how Machiavellian Hayward is on this stuff, because I don't think there was any way he could have known how Wanda was going to like create this anomaly, because he didn't know about it when he sent Monica out there. I think that this was a power play to get her to kind of back off wanting Vision's body.
Right.
And so like he showed her, you know, the body, and when she sensed that the Vision she knew wasn't there,
she left.
Oh,
yeah,
when she
left.
says, I can't feel you.
Yeah.
Oh, that was heartbreaking.
Because he's just an empty husk of
metal.
Nuts and bolts.
Yeah. But Hayward is right. He's like, I can't let you take $3 billion worth of vibranium.
I'm probably wrong, but I don't see Hayward as a complete villain. I just see him as a bureaucratic asshole.
Yeah.
That, he's doing what anybody else in his position would probably do.
I would agree with you if it wasn't for the way he said his lines in this episode.
I agree.
He was a sneaky little shit. And I'm like, there's got to be there's a layer to what he was saying.
He
that was a little
definitely
different.
wanted to get something out of this.
Yeah. And
maybe I'm giving him too much credit.
Maybe.
But I agree. He had a plan.
I'm going to go with Jude, because she's been right on like 90% of the things that she said.
But I'm not, just because I want to be right.
Okay.
When you're wrong.
So I just think that like Hayward, like he was almost trying to egg her on to see what she would do. Almost like it. I know we're kind of jumping ahead a little bit, but when he realizes like, oh, who would have known that the only thing we needed was a little bit of power from the source. Wanda's the freaking source of the power. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like he was trying at the beginning when they were like in the lab, he was trying to egg her on to see if she would try and like spark him back to life or something like that. Like he was trying.
I disagree.
You disagree? All right. I disagree too.
All right. Matthew.
All right. So Wanda blasts her way in, and TAC troopers arrive, aiming their guns at her. Hayward orders them to fall back, and once they do, Wanda goes over to the parts of Vision's body. She touches Vision's head but can't sense his mind, and then turns and leaves. In her car, Wanda looks at a folder on her passenger seat. It's the deed to a house that Vision had bought. Driving to Westview, Wanda finally comes to the foundation of the old house that she and Vision had chosen to grow old in. Wanda stands among the center of the foundation, screams in despair, and energy emerges from her body that manifests her and Vision's ideal home. Her energy then spreads throughout the town, and everything it touches changes to a 1950s black and white sitcom setting. Wanda's energy then recreates Vision as a 1950s sitcom father. As Wanda goes to him, she changes into a 1950s version of herself. Vision welcomes her home, and they sit on the couch and kiss before Vision turns on the TV.
She gave that town a makeover. That town was run down.
It really was.
Yeah.
She made it look better.
It was the factory shut down, and only people left are people that don't know how to get out.
All of their houses are worth so much more now.
Oh, yeah.
She like re-sided, re-landscaped. She made that look like a French kiss.
The French kiss. I want to be laughed at for that one.
okay.
I liked the scene, but it did prove one of my theories wrong. We kind of speculated that she had brought.
Yeah, apparently Mephisto isn't the pizza delivery guy.
Yeah. The pizza delivery guy is nobody.
Yeah.
And Vision's dead corpse is not being reanimated. Like she literally just like made a new version of him.
Yeah.
So like my theories are gone out the window.
Yeah.
And like as she was driving through the town, we got to see the original version of Herb and Dottie and a bunch of other people who, are kind of staples of the town. We
They're
got
all
to see
just-
their true forms.
They're all just
As soon as
trapped.
she got in her car, I was like, "There's two visions."
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Which we're getting to.
You
here.
could say that there's a double vision.
If the season finale is not named Double Vision, I'm gonna flip a table.
the Foreigner song.
Oh man.
That's good.
It was, it was cool. It was cool to see, but I was also disappointed that all my theories were proven wrong. And I was like, oh man,
Well,
so stupid.
so was everybody else. So it's okay.
Except for Jude.
Except for Jude. Jude called it. But didn't you agree that it was like a zombie vision, or did you think it was a new version? I can't remember.
Well,
I don't think I said either way, but
Okay.
I did not anticipate that there would be two visions
There's-
until this
yeah,
episode.
there's no the zombie vision is not the one in the hex.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
Well, it explains why the vision from the Hex couldn't leave the Hex,
Right,
because
it
he's
does.
part of that created universe that Wanda.
Yeah.
You need
Manifested.
to skip ahead to the end so we can.
Yeah. Can we talk about it? Let's go.
Yeah.
What happens next, Kadish?
All right. So the real Wanda watches and the house turns into a TV studio. Agatha mockingly applauds her, then disappears. Wanda hears Billy and Tommy yelling for help and runs out of the studio onto the street and finds Agatha magically choking her sons. Agatha tells Wanda that she knows what she is and Wanda is dangerous. She is supposed to be a myth, a creature capable of spontaneous creation that is using her powers to make a sitcom. Agatha says that Wanda is wielding chaos magic, and that makes her a Scarlet Witch.
Bum, bum, bum.
Bum, bum, bum. Yeah, we got the title from the character.
Yeah, and remember how earlier in the season, Hayward was like, "Do we have a call sign for her?" And they're like,
Mhm.
"No, it's just Maximoff."
Nope, no nickname.
No,
Nope,
not
nope.
one at all. Wink, wink, wink.
Yeah, perfect
Yeah.
setup for the Scarlet Witch.
The Scarlet Witch. So I just from this
keep going.
Oh, okay.
Get to the
You
credits.
just want to
Yeah.
just
Post credit.
yeah.
All right. So in the show's second post-credit sequence at the Sword Base outside of the Hex barrier around Westview, Hayward receives word that his team is about ready to launch. They pump magical energy from the drone missile that Wanda dragged out of the Hex into a pod holding Vision's body. Vision comes to life, but looks like he is now has a whited out skin and costume, making us wonder, is this the actual Vision
Yeah.
or something else?
Which he is.
Yeah. This is
the
Vision.
The zombie Vision.
The Orig Vision.
So
it's the original Vision's body,
Yes.
but
Hex Vision is Vision 2.0.
Vision
Created
original,
from Wanda's memory.
Hold on,
original Vision is in the hex.
no.
His body is outside the hex.
No, because the Vision inside the Hex has no memory
Well,
of his past self.
Yeah.
she's
And
Wanda's
this
Vision.
vision that
You
they
get it?
are
Wanda's
bringing back
vision.
to life is a husk of his body.
Yes.
But
The,
what-
the,
but what-
the
but-
original
but
Vision
listen,
that we know from the MCU is gone. He's gone. He's
Yeah.
dead. He is no longer. being.
unless Wanda gives him his memory.
You've got two different parts. Yeah.
Yeah,
you-
but
I mean,
he's still Vision based on Wanda's interpretation of Vision.
yeah, but he has no memory. He doesn't even remember him dying.
That's
or
what
he,
I'm saying.
He doesn't even know he's an Avenger.
The thing is that the Vision inside the Hex is the heart and soul of
Yes.
the character Vision. The Vision outside the Hex is just the body,
The
and,
empty
and,
husk.
and once they combine, that's how the Vision from Wanda's reality is going
Yes.
to be able to exist in the real world.
So this last episode, we're gonna get the
It could be
melding.
a Vision versus Vision
If-
fight.
No, she's gonna put them together.
Really? Think so?
That's the only way we can have Vision in the future movies and shows.
Yeah. And he's not going to have the Mind Stone anymore.
No, he'll have the Mind Stone because the Mind Stone's part of Wanda,
Mm-hmm.
and she's infusing him with power.
Or she could just create a mind
Which
stone.
I
She
guess
Can
just
she
kind
create
of-
an Infinity Stone
It
though?
kind of explained why his powers were different inside the Hex because she
Yes.
created them.
Yeah. But it's just, I don't think she has the power to create an Infinity
They
Stone.
said she has the power to create.
She's infused with Infinity Stone.
Yeah, infused. I can infuse myself with peppermint. That doesn't mean I can create a peppermint tree out of nothing.
Do you remember back when Darcy first showed up and she talked about the background radiation, which is
Yeah, the cosmic
which
radiation.
is the energy that happened when the Big Bang happened and the universe was created. If Wanda was able to create something that had that type of radiation with it, the Infinity Stones were created by the Big Bang when the universe first started,
Mhm.
which means that she literally has the power to create Infinity Stones
She has the
because
power
of
of
that
creation.
radiation.
It'll be interesting.
Which is what chaos magic is.
Yeah.
The power of creation. She is a god.
But the thing about chaos magic is that she probably doesn't understand how to control it, which is why it's chaotic.
Yeah.
You know.
So you guys think in the future we're going to see like Wanda teaming up with Doctor Strange and like learning more about magic?
Well, I think what's going to happen is that Wanda is going to start creating the multiverse, and Doctor Strange's job is to stop her and prevent this thing from happening. So like Wanda's going to be the catalyst for the multiverse, and Doctor Strange is going to have to come in and clean up her mess.
I kind of want to see a buddy cop show of Wanda and Thor, because they're both gods in my opinion. And they're like going from universe to universe and cleaning shit up.
I got to say,
he's a good
Fat Thor.
Fat Thor. Yeah, Fat Thor, please. I love Fat Thor. I have to say though, like as an MCU.
Okay, Lebowski.
Fat Thor is in your studio room, my friend.
It's in your presence as we speak.
God, I am a Fat Thor.
God damn it, Donnie.
You need to be playing Fortnite and yelling at 12-year-olds.
Oh my God.
I'm taking this thing home, dude.
Anyway, I lost my train of thought, but
I really liked how the show ended. Great setup for the finale.
Yes.
And you know, the 9th episode I think is going to be 50 minutes long, and
Better not be 45 minutes of credits.
and it's probably going to lead into Multiverse of Madness directly.
okay, you don't think there's going to be any kind of tie-in with Winter Soldier, Falcon?
Maybe.
No,
I don't anticipate that.
I think that, you know, Marvel's really good at like being like, okay, here's our cosmic universe, here's our city universe, here's our mystic universe. I think that Falcon and Winter Soldier is probably going to start setting up the new Avengers team that we're going to be getting, whereas the Multiverse of Madness Doctor Strange sequel is going to be setting up the next phase of Marvel with the new villain that they're eventually going to be facing.
Because we need Galactica. What is his name?
Galactus. Yeah.
Is he a big bad? Come on.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to be the big bad or not, but you know, with the mutants and the Fantastic Four being introduced,
He's a big bad for the Fantastic Four. So if they introduce them,
I mean,
this would be a good setup.
Who knows? I'll probably be long dead before we get to see all the good ones.
Dormammu or whatever that guy's name is from Doctor Strange too. He's out there floating around being evil. I was saying, like as a fan of the MCU, I kind of checked out after Endgame. I was like, okay, I'm satisfied. I've eaten my meal. I've had my nerd comic book movie satisfied. I'm good. I can walk away from the MCU and feel like I'm not missing anything.
You got your closure.
Yeah. This freaking show is going to make me signing me up for Speed 4.
It
Dude.
opened up a bunch of wounds.
Yeah.
You know what?
And I'm like, wait a minute. I need to go watch these movies.
I thought I was healed from that.
and that means they're doing a good job.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
and you know, there are some connections where Falcon and Winter Soldier, I think we're going to see the resurgence of Hydra because of Baron Zemo. And Hydra played a role in WandaVision as well.
Yep.
I mean, not an active one, but we saw in the past how they manipulated that. So we're going to get Hydra back. We're going to get a multiverse. We're going to get all types of interesting setups.
at least a version of Hydra, right? So,
Yeah.
You know, and you also remember these are the same characters that we all loved in the first movies. So it'll be curious to see how things go forward when they introduce new characters like Photon or whatever the hell her name is.
Yeah.
And she has a role to play in the next Captain Marvel.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll see.
Who's the guy from the circus with the belt? He's supposed to be.
Oh, he was just that security guy that that Darcy was given a hard time when he escorted her.
Isn't he supposed to be someone?
I'm sure there's fan theories out there that
he's supposed to be like some kind of soup because his belt had a symbol on it. I forget. Who he's supposed to be.
Well, no, I think he was just a throwaway character.
Okay.
Well,
everybody that's in the hex is infused with some kind of weird magic.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. So
maybe
like
that's sparking some mutant genes in there or something.
That's the other big thing is the X-Men. Are they they talk about introducing the Fantastic Four into this universe, and then in the real world, I don't know why I quoted that. In the real world, Disney has purchased Fox, which has the X-Men. So now they're going to start introducing X-Men. So is Wanda the spark that lights off this X gene that everybody starts having? Like it's weird to think about.
I kind of dig it.
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
It's a way to do it, I guess, if they wanted to go there.
Yeah. I mean, she seems to be the one that's being has the ability to kind of like change people's DNA.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes you wonder, you know?
Well, it also brings up the fact that Evan Peters, you know, in the Fox movies, he's a mutant.
Yeah.
And so if you have a scenario where in this universe there are no mutants, and all of a sudden you introduce one mutant, how does that ripple out through the population?
And she had to have pulled him through the hex too. So
Yeah.
that's going to intensify his power.
Maybe
If you're
at
playing
some
by
point,
the rules.
maybe at some point in the future, Wanda's gonna like put a hex around the whole planet.
Well, Doctor Strange did put a spell around the planet to
So,
protect it in one of his movies. So I mean,
Who
it's
knows?
it's not without possibility.
Well, Superman spun around the world backwards in reverse time.
That was awesome.
Don't even talk to me about that, Jude.
Well, another interesting fact that you guys talked about is that when you pass through that WandaVision barrier for the anomaly, it changes your DNA
Yeah.
because of the creation
Uh-huh.
magic that Wanda's putting out. So does that mean that Westview, New Jersey, all the residents and all the sword operatives who were trapped in there, are they now going to like
Right.
you know be changed to link up with like the Eternals or some other like
Yep.
Marvel superhero faction that you know this is where it all starts? Like how
Wanda
does that
created
happen?
mutants.
Gosh,
It's possible.
Who knows?
what a strange web
Maybe we'll find out some more.
spin.
Maybe we'll find out some more in a couple days.
Yeah, I'm sure we will.
Any predictions for the finale?
I'm gonna go with the obvious one, Vision versus Vision, and the combining of the heart and the body
Yeah.
of the Vision. So I think that's definitely gonna happen. I hope it does. I don't
Yeah.
want
I
them.
think we all do.
I don't want them to leave off with like just this like robotic dry Vision alive and the other one's gone.
They're gonna tear our hearts out.
That would suck. I would also. I know we talked about it a couple weeks ago about how like this new version of Vision might be a precursor to the Sentinels.
Nah.
I don't.
Well,
I mean, it's possible, but I would be very sad.
I think we're way
We're being nerds.
we're way ahead of the
Well, we were
curve
talking
here.
about Project Cataract being the precursor to the Sentinel Project,
I
so
mean,
that could still be a thing, but it depends.
it wouldn't shock me if we got through the entirety of phase 4. Or what are we in phase 5 now? What are we in?
4. This is 4.
We're starting 4?
Yeah.
If we got to the end of this phase and we didn't see anything about mutants until phase 5.
Hmm.
So we're 6. They don't have to be in a hurry.
No, that's the good thing about MCU, dude, is they just like take their time.
We get all this
Set up and pay off.
multiverse
Well,
of madness stuff
the
going on.
interesting thing here is that there are no plans for a second season of WandaVision because
Yeah.
they're looking at it as a mini-series lead into Doctor Strange 2. Same thing with Falcon and Winter Soldier, where it's basically a one and done 6-hour, extravaganza. So it looks like everything that Marvel has on its plate is kind of like its own standalone miniseries, which leads into like a movie or something else. And we're not like I'd love to have a second season of this show actually, but
Mhm,
it doesn't
me
look like
too.
we're going to get one.
Yeah.
Okay,
there's
so-
a shit ton that they need to wrap up in the next 50 minutes.
Agnes, does she live or die in the next
Oh,
episode?
she lives.
No, she lives.
Lives?
I say she lives.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's going to be a protagonist for Wanda going forward for a while.
You mean antagonist?
Antagonist,
Yeah,
yeah.
she's going to be like Wanda's Moriarty to Sherlock Holmes.
She might
you
even
know,
teach
type
her a
thing.
few things. So
Yeah, so she's going to be Wanda's nemesis going forward. I don't really have a whole lot of predictions because I think that they're going to try to wrap everything up they need to and lead off into what do you call it, the
Phase
multiverse of madness.
4. Yeah.
So I hope they stick to the landing. I hope they don't J.J. Abrams this thing.
They
I
haven't
don't think
yet.
they will. I don't think they will.
The MCU has like very few missteps. It's a handful of movies don't hit really well, but on the large scale, like they have great storytelling ability to
Yeah.
be able to
Yeah.
bring these things a full circle.
I definitely feel like I need to rewatch marathon everything leading up to when
Yeah, that's what we're
The
doing
finale.
tomorrow.
it's fine.
Can I come over?
Yeah.
MCU marathon. All right. Is everybody satisfied? Final
Happy.
thoughts? All good?
Mhm.
Yeah.
You guys enjoy this episode?
Yeah.
I did too. Except for that opening 5 minutes with Agatha. I was kind of like, just cut that out.
That just made me want more Agatha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. It was like
I want some Agatha and Salem stories.
too much of a teaser. Huh?
Yeah.
That would be pretty cool.
Didn't you feel like, I mean, I love Catherine Hahn 100%, but didn't you feel like the woman who played her mother should actually be playing Agatha? Because isn't she supposed to be an old woman?
Yeah, the
I don't
pictures
know.
from the comics that I've seen, yes.
She's old,
but,
yeah.
But I didn't read them, so I don't care.
I feel like Maggie
So
Smith should be playing Agatha.
Yes.
That would be pretty
Every
cool.
old woman in every movie needs to be played by Maggie Smith.
I've enjoyed not being a comic reader for this show.
Yeah, because you're on a ride.
It's all new to me.
Yeah, it's cool. All right, guys, that's it for our review of WandaVision episode 8.
8.
I don't
Previously
know.
on.
It's all just a blur to me. I'm just watching a show. It's like an 8-hour-long movie.
It is.
Episode previously on.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the little bell notification so we can let you know when we're dropping new content. And before we get out of here, where can we find everybody on the socials, starting with Matt Vader 70 Thor?
74. Yes. You find me at Matt Vader 74. That's the number 74 on Twitter and YouTube and Instagram
Right on.
for the time being. Yeah.
Thank you. And can I just say, what a beautiful, beautiful blonde-haired
Fucking metal.
person you are.
Yeah.
Jude, where can they find you?
You can find me at I am Juju on Instagram and Twitter. Although I don't know who would want to find me after seeing this vision.
Fat Thor.
and then this. No,
Oh,
it's no good.
Matthew Kadish.
You can find me at Matthew Kadish, Kadish on Twitter, and kadishbooks.com takes you to my Amazon page where you can check out my books.
Right on. And I'm your host, the Salty Nerd. You can catch me on Twitter at salty_nerd. Or if you would love to support the podcast, go to saltynerdclub.com and become a patron. We'd appreciate it. Stay salty, my friends.